Welcome back to Adventure Recap. Today we dive into the best Adam Sandler comedy, Big Daddy.
I had a doll one time, but my cat, he bite his head off.
What kind of cat would do that?
You calling me a liar?
Spoilers ahead, so watch out and take care. This is Sonny. He's the definition of a slob, as lazy as it gets, right? See, Sonny received $200,000 when his foot got run over by a cab, and ever since then, he's fully embraced this carelessly carefree lifestyle. While he talks to his dad on the phone, his girlfriend Vanessa wakes up in a panic because she knows right away that Sonny turned off her alarm. The two start to get into it, and Sonny asks her why she's been so nuts to him lately. She tells him how frustrating it is that he refuses to move on to the next phase in his life. One foot out the door, literally and figuratively, she lets him know that she's going to Syracuse to spend a few days with her mom, and they should really assess their relationship while they're apart, and figure out if they're actually suitable for each other or if this is just a waste of time. That evening, Sonny works his part-time, super easy job manning a toll booth. When he comes home, he finds...
Just ignore him. It's only Sonny.
Sonny walks over to his friends and inquires as to what's going on exactly. Phil says that Corinne planned a surprise party for Sonny's best friend and roommate Kevin, who's going on a huge business trip the following morning. Kevin walks in to a huge ovation.
Surprise.
Corinne, both hysterically and overdramatically, rushes to the bathroom where she'll lock the door and wallow.
See you in 3 hours.
Everybody within Sonny's circle is discussing how busy they are because they're all, including Kevin, really successful lawyers.
I worked so hard on this.
Layla, Corinne's sister, joins Kevin outside of the Fortress of Solitude and offers to help him calm Corinne down. She's got that magic touch. Phil discusses an issue that he's been dealing with in regards to his latest case. Sonny gives him advice that would suggest that he would make a really good lawyer if he would just put the effort in.
Sonny, you're the king.
Phil's got to hightail it back to the office, so he starts to tell people goodbye. Sonny and Tommy gossip about the dichotomy that is Kevin and Corinne's relationship. Sonny points out how bored Kevin seems, gives the relationship 2 more weeks until it completely implodes. Kevin makes a toast and thanks everybody for coming. He acknowledges it's weird how the guy that's about to embark on a trip to China to represent his law firm is the same guy who once shaved his ass to win $5.
Prove it. Just kidding.
He says he's also very grateful that so many people he cares about are there because
You're not proposing, are you?
Yeah, pal, I am.
Think about it, you know?
God, Sonny, shut up.
the next morning Sonny's doorbell is a buzzing and Corinne is a cleaning the mess from last night. When Sonny opens the door, we learn that you can pretty much order anything off of Amazon Prime because there's a dude there with a little kid who he's there to drop off. Sonny doesn't get very many questions in before the older kid scrattles. Fortunately for Sonny, the package came with a letter, and the letter suggests that the father is... Kevin's at the airport, about to board his plane. He freaks out though, contemplates out loud the idea of blowing off his partners to go home because this seems pretty damn important. Sonny insists that he does not do that, go to China, do your thing. There's a letter here, okay? It says, in the event that you can't take care of this kid, call a number they provide and it'll all be taken care of. Sonny volunteers to take care of this for him. No problem, just rush hour. He calls the number. It's a child services office, more specifically Arthur Brooks, who was assigned to oversee things in the event that the father, who I guess we assume is Kevin, can't take care of the kid. Unfortunately, it's Columbus Day, so the office is closed. Sonny and the boy, who we learn is Julian, venture outside. When Sonny begins to cross the street, Julian waits on the sidewalk for Sonny to hold his hand. He takes Julian to the park and introduces him to the fun, therapeutic activity of watching skaters fall on their ass. And it's there he gets to know him more.
You wipe your own ass then?
Yes.
You do, good job.
Back at Sonny's place, Julian is introduced to Sonny's good friend, the delivery guy. They're watching an old detective show on TV.
This Columbo, he pretends to be stupid, but he's really smart as a tack.
When Sonny asks Julian about his toy, he learns his name is Scuba Steve, leader of the Scuba Squad. That night, Sonny and Julian go to the local dive bar to watch football.
Damn Jets.
Who do you want to win?
Damn Jets.
Sonny quickly learns and acknowledges that Julian would make a great wingman. He finds himself opening up to Julian about Vanessa, venting about how she used to worship him and they used to go to this bar all the time with all their friends. But then everybody started getting jobs and they got busy, now no one shows up anymore and it sucks. When they get home, Sonny plugs in a nightlight for Julian.
Are you my dad?
Oh, no, I'm not.
You can tell that really affects Sonny and tugs at his heart. And that simple question begs a million more. Who's his mom? Where's his mom? Who's his dad? Is it Kevin? How's it Kevin? It's just a lot to process and it's a lot to feel. But one thing's for sure though, Sonny does like this kid. The next day, Sonny plays fetch with Julian at the park with Phil and Tommy. Sonny expresses thinking about keeping the kid. Phil reminds Sonny of the responsibilities that come with being a parent. Yeah, Tommy agrees and thinks that Sonny should sleep on it. Sonny agrees to that and says that's a good idea. He borrows Tommy's cell phone and calls Arthur Brooks. Lets him know he's gonna keep the kid after all. The next day, everything changes. Julian wakes up Sonny way too early because he had an accident. Sonny doesn't know how to deal with things like accidents, so he throws newspaper on top of the bed sheet and then plops Julian back into bed, and then he tries to go back to sleep. Julian tosses and turns obnoxiously on purpose because he's wide awake at this point.
Alright, I'm up!
Downstairs, Julian spills milk and cries. Sonny doesn't know how to deal with things like spilled milk, so he just throws newspaper on top of it. And then he teaches Julian the loop, swoop, and pull method of tying one's shoes.
You loop it, you swoop it, and you pull.
They decide to get McDonald's breakfast because Sonny hasn't been up early enough to get McDonald's breakfast in like a decade.
Oh, yeah, the hand holding thing.
Though pressed for time, Julian insists that he really has to go to the bathroom. Prick restaurant owner refuses to let them use his restroom, so Sonny takes Julian around back and they both piss on the restaurant wall. They can see the golden arches when out of nowhere, Julian starts a conversation with a homeless man. It's incredibly frustrating for Sonny because it's an incredibly pointless conversation, but the homeless man seems both invested and engaged in the dialogue exchange. Finally, Sonny offers to buy the man a sausage egg McMuffin if he shuts up, so he does. They hurry inside, but the demon seat behind the counter lets them know that they stopped serving breakfast at 10:30 now.
Horse!
Julian begins to bawl his eyes out.
We got a Happy Meal? Can we get a Happy Meal?
Will somebody get the kid a Happy Meal?
When they get back outside, Julian is still relentlessly crying. So to cheer him up, Sonny throws himself in front of a car. Back at Sonny's, Sonny is desperate to watch hockey, so he treats Julian to an ungodly amount of junk food. In an effort to conk him out, it works. When Julian wakes up from his nap, he commands Sonny to put on his Kangaroo Song video. Sonny cannot believe how horrible this Kangaroo Song video is, but Julian adores it, and then he throws up. Sonny doesn't know how to deal with throw up, so he throws newspaper on top of it, and he proclaims how grateful he is Vanessa's coming back that night, because unlike him, she'll know exactly how to handle things like this. While on their way to Vanessa's apartment, Julian expresses that he's nervous, so Sonny gives him a top secret pair of invisibility sunglasses. Julian tries them on and...
Julian? Julian! Hello, Julian?
Sonny, and we're here.
They get to Vanessa's and she's very clearly thrown off, but she invites them both in. Sonny explains the whole thing to her, and when Julian takes off his sunglasses, he lets her know the significance of that. And then Sonny hears something coming from the bathroom. He walks over to investigate, finds it locked. Livid, Sonny bangs on the door. Out walks a man who I'd describe as a genetically enhanced Colonel Sanders. You can call him Sid. Sonny apologizes and says that he assumed the man was sleeping with his girlfriend. With an F-you smile, Sid tells him that he is. Julian puts the sunglasses back on. Vanessa tries to justify her actions by explaining how ambitious Sid is. He's got a 5-year plan.
What is it? Don't die?
Sonny and Julian show up in person to meet with Arthur Brooks. Sonny explains to Mr. Brooks that he assumed that he'd be taking care of Julian with another person, but she lost her mind and is no longer in the picture. When he asks about Julian's mom, he learns that she had terminal cancer and just passed away. Julian hurries over to Sonny and proudly lets him know that he tied his shoes on his own, loop, swoop, and pull style. This genuinely impresses Sonny. He throws the idea out there to Arthur Brooks that what if he took care of Julian while they were looking for another family, that way he wouldn't have to stay in a foster home. Arthur suggests that they pretend that Sonny never came in here today, and if he finds a good family, he'll give him a ring and let him know. Sonny and Julian take a seat outside, and Sonny explains to Julian that he doesn't want to control him. That he should be able to make his own decisions, like his name for instance. He asks Julian what he wants his name to be.
Frankenstein.
So from now on, this is Frankenstein. Sonny tells Frankenstein that he's going to try a new approach to parenting. Frankenstein can do whatever he wants, and he'll show him some cool stuff along the way. He teaches Frankenstein all about baseball, and how to properly eat a pizza, and how to perform a sleeper hold like Chief J Strongbow. He lets Frankenstein pick what he wears when they go out, and he shows them old comedies full of injury-prone characters because he knows how funny Frankenstein finds that sort of thing. He takes Frankenstein trick-or-treating for the very first time in a kangaroo costume they made together. The man at the first house they go to doesn't appear to be very festive. So Sonny introduces himself and explains to the man why he should reconsider his actions. The man fully understands what Sonny's talking about and has a total change of heart.
Say happy Halloween.
Happy Halloween.
Thank you.
Next year, be prepared, moron.
They get lunch with Phil and Tommy, and Frankenstein says he wants 30 packets of ketchup. They show off They show off a cool new trick that Sonny taught Frankenstein. And Sonny brags about how many pull-ups Frankenstein can do.
I can't even do one with these scrawny arms.
They're not scrawny. They're nice.
When Frankenstein plays wingman for Sonny in a park, Sonny is able to lock in a date with Corinne's sister Layla. She comes over that night and the two learn that they're both diehard Styx fans. Frankenstein says he can't sleep, so Layla and Sonny tuck him in and tell him a story that they make up on the fly. Sonny creatively uses the story to ask for a kiss, but Layla creatively uses the story to deny his request for now. However, someone does get lucky that night. The two continue to see each other very often, which is super nice for Sonny, considering how bored he's been ever since Frankenstein decided that he wanted to start going to school. Corinne quarter playfully confronts Sonny at a grocery store in regards to what he's been up to with her sister. Frankenstein slams a canned food item down on the ground.
What the hell is he doing?
He's shopping.
Microsoft went down 3 points.
That's real good. See you later, Frankenstein.
Corinne would eventually, much to her horror, witness Sonny and Layla's very first kiss. It's parent-teacher day at school, and Frankenstein excitedly shows Sonny around, until his naturally unpleasant teacher, Mrs. Foot, requests to speak with Sonny. First things first, Frankenstein spilled a tub of glue in class, and didn't know how to handle it, so he plopped newspaper on top of it. 2. Another student brought roller skates to class for show and tell, and Frankenstein tripped him with a stick. 2.5. Sonny notices Frankenstein peeing way too publicly the way that Sonny taught him how on restaurant walls. 3. This one's the worst one. Frankenstein is apparently the smelly kid in class.
I've had some smelly ones before, but your son is by far the smelliest.
Sonny now opts to nix his parenting method in favor of giving real parenting a shot. In order to ensure that not Frankenstein but Julian again is on board, he enlists in the help of Scuba Steve's dad to explain to Julian that things have to change for the better if he ever wants to become a member of the Scuba Squad. Sonny starts to help Julian with the bathing process, and he helps him study and creatively retain the knowledge that he gains from school.
Hip hop? Hip hop Anonymous?
Damn you! You gave him the easy ones!
Arguably most importantly, Sonny teaches him the proper places to use the restroom. Julian pulls a complete 180 at a school play where he plays Benjamin Franklin, while all the other kids fight to be the first one to sign the Declaration of Independence. Julian stands proudly at the head of the stage, refusing to be another mischief maker. Just when things couldn't get better for the pair, Arthur Brooks pops up uninvited. He makes it clear that he's figured out Sonny isn't Kevin. Says either Julian comes with him right now or Sonny will be arrested. Sonny begs for a minute to say goodbye. He tries to explain things to Julian, but Julian's a kid and he just thinks that Sonny doesn't want him around anymore. Letting go of Julian is the hardest thing that Sonny's ever had to do in his life. So he dusts off his old law books and he starts to study, because he's going to defend himself in an effort to gain custody of Julian. At the trial, we learn that along with himself, Phil and Tommy will be representing him. Layla pops in and says that she'll be representing him as well. Everybody who's interacted with Sonny and Julian together take the stand. The homeless man begins to veer off topic in a rant against his father when Sonny reveals to him a McDonald's bag, which snaps him right back into focus on the prize. Kevin walks in and insists that he represents Sonny too. Now including himself, he's got 5 people representing him. Arthur Brooks' lawyer insists that they're only putting people on the stand who love Sonny, and he demands that they put someone on who doesn't think too highly of him. Cue Corinne taking the stand. She's very brutally honest about how she feels about Sonny, how they feel about each other. But when she's asked her opinion on how he was as a parent to Julian, she says that from what she could tell, he did a great job.
Where did you work while you attended medical school?
Hooters.
Julian very bravely takes the stand, and when Layla asks him who his mother would pick to be his father if she could pick anybody in the world, he smiles wide and says Sonny. The judge asks Sonny if anyone else will be taking the stand. Sonny says that he will. When he's asked who will be examining him, he says his father. The defendants are totally against this. They say they're looking for the truth here, not the opinion of Sonny's father.
You want my opinion? My son is a moron.
I withdraw my objection. Please proceed.
Things start off brutal. Sonny's dad gets him to admit that he lied in order to get custody of Julian. He says to give Sonny custody of a kid is complete negligence to that kid's well-being.
Objection! Shut up, Tommy.
Sorry, Mr. Koufax.
He calls Sonny anything but a role model. He calls his son a drain on society, a drain on the country, but most importantly,
On me!
Sonny takes his dad's hand and he tells him that he loves him, and he promises his dad that he doesn't need to be scared that he might fail as a father. His dad quietly tells him that that's a certainty, but Sonny confidently tells him he's wrong. He loves this kid too much as Sonny's dad loves him. He says he would do anything for Julian just so he doesn't have to feel an ounce of pain. He would fly from Florida to New York to show up at his court case, even if he completely disagreed with why he was there in the first place. He won't fail at being a dad because he can't. He refuses it. Everybody in the courtroom begins to call their father. Sonny's dad tells the judge that his son deserves this kid, and he and Sonny embrace. The celebration, however, is short-lived because the judge feels as though not only should Sonny not get custody of Julian, but he should be in prison, and she demands that he is taken into custody immediately. Kevin then demands as that boy's father he refuses to press charges. Final verdict, pending a blood test, custody goes to Kevin. Julian runs into Sonny's arms, says he wants Sonny to be his dad. The two both know that can't happen. Cut to 1 year later. Sonny is dragged out of the office despite a heavy caseload, forced to go with his friends to a Hooters, where this time the surprise party's for him. We find out that he's married Layla and they have a beautiful baby. And Julian is very happy with his parents, Kevin and Corinne, who he refers to as Mom. Everybody's having a good time when Sonny and Julian run into a familiar face.
Maybe it's a 10-year plan.
Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please subscribe with your post notifications on. It really helps the channel out. I'll see you tomorrow on Adventure Recap. That is a spoiler. Watch out and take care.